This is for my audience, and you know who you are. This is the Dead Sea Scrolls, okay? The first and the second apocalypse of James. You say I give you no evidence? This is more evidence. This is not only in the Bible, but the Dead Sea Scrolls. Honey, this information about us and what we're doing and what you're watching and who you think I am, this has already been preordained. And it says, a hidden mystery, but I am faint-hearted before their anger. This is the Christ and James talking, me. James said, Rabbi, if they arm themselves against you, then there is no blame. And Christ says, you have come with knowledge. That's me. That you might rebuke their forgetfulness. That's you. You have come with recollection, that you might rebuke their ignorance. But I was concerned for you, James, for you descended into a great ignorance. But you have not been defiled by anything in it. For you descended into a great mindlessness, and your recollection remained. You walked in mud, and your garments were not soiled, and you have not been buried in their filth, and you have not been caught, and I was not like them, but I clothed myself in everything of theirs. This is in me, there is in me a forgetfulness, yet I remember the things that are not theirs. There is in me, and I am in their knowledge, not in their sufferings, but I have become afraid before them, since they rule. For what will I do? What will I be able to say, or what will I be able to say to escape them? The Lord said, James, I praise your understanding and your fear. If you continue to be distressed, do not be concerned for anything else except your redemption. For behold, I shall complete this destiny upon the earth, and I have said from the heavens, and I shall reveal it to your redemption. James said, Rabbi, after these things, will you appear to us again after they seize you and you complete this destiny? You will go up to him who is. The Lord said, James, after these things I shall reveal to you everything, not for your sake alone, but for the sake of the unbelief of men, for that faith may exist in them. For a multitude will attain to faith, and they will increase. And after this I shall appear for a reproof of the archons, the angels, and I shall reveal to them that he cannot be seized, that if they seize him, James, then he will overpower each of them. But now I shall go. Remember the things I have spoken, and let them go up before you, James. I shall hasten, as you have said. The Lord said farewell to him and fulfilled what was fitting. When James heard of his suffering, and he was much distressed, they awaited for a sign, and he came after several days, and James was walking upon the mountain which was called Gilgal, with his disciples who listened to him because they had been distressed, and he was a comforter, saying, this is the second. When the crowd dispersed, and James remained in prayer, which was his custom, and the Lord appeared to him, and then stopped in prayer and embraced him. He kissed him, saying, Rabbi, I have found you. I have heard your sufferings, which you endured, and I have been much distressed. And they have contrary to, and for what these things they have done, which is contrary to what is fitting. The Lord said, do not conceal from me for these people. They existed as a type of archon, an angel. They deserved to be destroyed through them. But in the angels who has insensate angry with the just, it is a servant. Therefore your name is James the Just. And you see how you will become sober when you see me. And you stopped in this prayer. Now since you are a just man of God, you have embraced and kissed me. Truly I say to you that you have stirred up great anger with these people, with yourself. But this has happened so that these others might come to be. But James was timid and wept, and he was very distressed. And they both sat down on a rock, and the Lord said, James, thus you will undergo these sufferings, but do not be sad, for the flesh is weak, it will receive which is ordained for it. But as for you, do not be timid or afraid, the Lord has ceased. Now when James heard of these things, he wiped away his tears, and his eyes who sat there, and he says, and in particular there are three of them, number 1, 2, and 3. They will seize you, and toll collectors. Not only do they demand toll, but they also will take away souls by theft. When you come into their power, one of them who is their guard will say to you, his name is Apollyon, who are you, or where are you from? You are to say to him, I'm a son from the Father, and he will say to you, what sort of son are you, and what father do you belong? And you are to say, I am from the pre-existent Father, the Son and the pre-existent one. When he says to you, you are to say to him, in that I might. Of the alien things, you are to say to him, they are not entirely alien, but they are from Archmouth, who is a female, and she has produced them who are pre-existent, so they are not alien. But when you come to these containers and take away souls by theft, these will mess with you much more than of them who for the root you will to your symbol, but you shall follow in the imperishable knowledge which shall be in the Father and the Mother of Archmouth, the Father and the male consort. She produced you without a male. They are a type of 12 disciples and a 12 pairs. For I and myself am, and the imperishable Sophia, for redeemed and as sons and things who have come. James said, I am satisfied, and they are my soul yet another. And I ask, you are 7 women who your disciples, and behold, the vessels come strong through perception, a spirit of thought, a spirit of counsel, a spirit of knowledge of their fear. And when we have passed through the breadth of this arch on his name, James said, Rabbi, altogether in them, especially the Lord said, James, I praise you, walk upon the earth the words while on them. For cast away from the cup which is bitterness, for some from the set themselves against you. They set themselves against you, for you have begun to understand the roots of them from the beginning to end. Cast away from yourself the lawlessness, and beware that you think when you speak these words of the perception, encourage them forth. Since he takes some to me, he is burnt offerings, but I not in this way, but the first fruits will be upward, so that the power of God might appear. The perishable has gone up to the imperishable. James said, Rabbi, into these three then is there been cast, for they have been revealed and reviled, and they have been persecuted. Behold, everything from anyone, for you have received of knowledge, and that which is to go, and you will find. But I shall go forth, and they shall reveal that they believed in you, that they might contend with their blessings and salvation, for this revelation may come to pass. And he went at that time immediately and rebuked the 12, and cast them out concerning the way of knowledge. And the majority of them, when they saw the messenger, took in the others, and said, From him this earth, for he is not worthy of life. Then these were afraid, and they rose, saying, We have no part in his blood, for a just man will perish through injustice. James departed, so that when we look for him. Okay, that's the first apocalypse of James. Do you understand? We're trying to see if you can. This is going to be the second apocalypse of James. And let me get it together. Alright. From the Nag Hammadi Library, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay. Second apocalypse of James. That's me. This is the discourse that James the just spoke to Jerusalem. One of the priests who he had told the father of the just one, since he was the relative of his, he said, Hasten to go with Mary, your wife, and your relatives. Therefore, in this command you will understand from the whole multitude of this story of his words. And they are greatly angry at him, and they pray, for he would often say these words, and also he used to speak these words while the multitude of people were seated. But on this occasion he, James, entered and did not sit down in the place where it was accustomed. Rather, he sat above on the fifth flight of steps, which is highly esteemed, while the other people and he heard his words. I am he, James, who received revelation from the imperishability. I am he who first summoned him by who is great, and who obeyed the Lord, he who passed through the two worlds, he who has stripped himself and went about naked, he who was found in a perishable state, though he was about to be brought into imperishability. This Lord who is present, come as a son who sees, but as a father who he saw. He will come to and produced him, because he who unites, make him free, and he who came to. There's a lot of breaks in this dialogue, because the Dead Sea Scrolls are 2,000 years old and they haven't pieced it all together, so this is as much as we can translate. This is the information from my first incarnation, James, the brother of the Lord, okay? And I am giving you this information. It's all over, and this is what we're doing. He is the first who has gone naked, and he is the first who has stripped himself. In the flesh, it is by knowledge that I shall come forth from the flesh. I am surely dying, but it is in the life that I shall be found. I entered in order that I might judge. I shall come forth in that I judge. I do not bring blame against the servants of his, Lucifer's. I hasten to make them free, and want to take all of them to him who is to rule over them. If they are helped, I am a brother, I am their brother in secret, who pray to them. I am the first son who was begotten. He will destroy the dominion of them all. I am the beloved. I am the righteous one. I am the son of the Father. I speak even as I heard. I command even as I received the other. I show you even as I have found. Behold, I speak in order that I may come forth. Pay attention to me in order that you may see me. Behold, if I have come into existence, who then am I? For I did not come as I am, nor would I have appeared as I am. For I used to exist for a brief period of time in the existence of a created angel. Once when I was sitting deliberating, he opened the door, that one whom you hated, that one whom you persecuted, who came into me. He said to me, Hail, my brother, hail, as I raised to my face and stared at him. My mother said to me, Do not be frightened, my son, because he said, My brother, to you, for you were nourished with the same milk. Because of this, this, he calls me my brother, my mother, for he is not a stranger to us. He is your stepbrother. These words, great, I shall find him, and they shall come forth. However, I am the stranger, and they have no knowledge of me in their thoughts, for they know me in this place. But it was fitting that others know through you, and that they know me, because I am their brother in secret. And you thought that that this wasn't in. And you thought that this wasn't in, already placed in was already written down. This is prophesied. You are the one whom I say, hear and understand, for a multitude, when they hear, will be slow-witted. But you understand, as I shall be able to tell you. Your father is not my father, but my father has become a father to you. This is Christ talking to James. This virgin about whom you hear, this is how the virgin named, how to me, for you to know, not as whom I, for the one to him, and is also the profitable for you. Your father, whom you consider to be rich, shall grant you that you inheritance, that these things that you see. I proclaim to you, tell these words that I speak when you hear. Therefore open your ears and understand and walk accordingly. It is because of you that they pass by, activated by the one who is glorious, that's Lucifer. And if they want to make a disturbance and seize possession, he began not, nor for those who are coming, who were sent forth by him to make his present creation. After these things, when he is ashamed, he shall be disturbed, that his labor, which is far from the eons, has nothing, and his inheritance, which he boasted so great, shall appear small. And his gifts are not blessings, his promises are evil schemes. For you are not an instrument of his compassion, but it is through you that he does violence. He wants to do injustice to us all, and you will exercise dominion for a time allotted to him. But understand and know the Father who has compassion. He was given not an inheritance that was unlimited, nor does it have a limited number of days, but it is an eternal day. It is perceived and he used, for in fact this is not one come from them. And because of this he has despised. Because of this he boasts, so that he may not be reproved. For because of this he is superior to those who are below, those to whom you were looked down upon. For after he imprisoned those from the Father, he seized them and fashioned them to resemble himself, and it was with him that they exist. That's you. I saw from the height of those things that happened, and I have explained how they happened. They were visited while they were in another form, and while I was watching, they came to know as I am, a spirit-created angel from those whom I know. Now before those things have happened, they will make. I know that they have attempted to come down to this place that they might approach this small children, but I wish to reveal to you the spirit of power, in order that they might reveal to those who are yours, and those who wish to enter and who speak to walk in the way that is before the door. Open the good door through you, and they follow you, and they enter and escort them and inside, and give a reward to each one who is ready for it. For you are not a redeemer. I am not a redeemer. This is Christ talking to James. You are not a redeemer. You are a helper of strangers. You are an illuminator and a redeemer of those who are mine. And now for those who are yours, you shall reveal to them, and you shall bring good among all of them. They shall admire for every powerful deed. You are he whom the heavens bless. You he shall envy. He who has called himself your Lord, Lucifer. I am those who have instructed in those things with you. For your sake they will be told these things, and they will come to rest. For your sake they will reign, and they will become kings. For your sake they will have pity on whomever they have pity. For just as you are first having clothed yourself, you are the first to go around stripping yourself naked. And you shall become as you were before you stripped. And he kissed your mouth, and he took hold of me, saying, my beloved, hold, I shall give and reveal to you those things that neither the heavens nor those archangels have been known. Behold, I shall reveal to you those things that you did not know. And he boasted, there is no other except me, Lucifer, but I am notified, because I am a Father. Do not I have power for everything? Behold, I shall reveal to you everything, my beloved. Understand and know them, that you may come forth just as I am. Behold, I shall reveal to you again who is hidden, but now stretch out your hand, now take hold of me. And then I stretch out my hands, and I did not find. But afterward I heard him saying, understand and take hold of me. Because I was afraid, and I was exceedingly joyful. Therefore I tell you, judges, you have been judged, and you did not spare, but you were spared. Be sober, and you did not know. He was that one whom he who created the heaven and the earth and dwelt in it did not see. He was the one who was the life. He was the light. He was the one who will come to be. And again he shall provide an end for what has begun. about to be ended. He was the Holy Spirit and the invisible one who did not descend upon the earth. He was the virgin, and that which was he wishes, and that is what he wishes happens to him. I saw that he was naked, and there was no garment covering him. That which he wills happens to him. Renounce this difficult way, for it is variable, and walk in accordance with him who desires that you become free men with me. After you have passed above every dominion, for he will not judge for those things that you have done, for he will have mercy on you. For it is not you that did it, but it is your Lord who did them. He was not a wrathful one, but he was a kind father. But you have judged yourselves, and because of this you will remain in their fetters. I will remain in your fetters. You have oppressed yourselves, and you will repent, but you will not be profitable at all. Behold him who speaks, and seek him who is silent, for him who came to this place, and understand him who went forth from it. I am the just one, and I do not judge. I do not judge. I am not a master, then I am a helper. He was cast out before he stretched out his hand. And that allows him to hear and play your trumpets and your flutes and your pianos in this house. The Lord has taken you captive, for the Lord, having closed their ears, that they may not hear the sound of my word. Yet you will be able to pay heed in your hearts, and you will call me the just one. You will call me the just one. Therefore I tell you, behold, I gave to you a house which you said that God has made, that house in which he promised to give an inheritance through it. This house I shall doom to destruction and derision for those who are in ignorance, for I behold those who judge and deliberate. On that day all the people in the crowd were disturbed, and they showed that they had not been persuaded. And they arose and went forth speaking in this manner. And he entered again in the same day and spoke a few hours. And it was with the priest, and revealed nothing of the relationship. He revealed nothing of the relationship, since all of them were saying with one voice, Come, let us stone the just one. And they arose saying, Yes, let us kill that man, for he may be taken from our midst, for he will be of no use to us. And they were there and found him standing beside the columns of the temple, beside the mighty cornerstone. And they decided to throw him down from the height, and they cast him down, and they seized him and struck him, and they dragged him upon the ground. They stretched out a place and a stone for his abdomen, and they all placed their feet on him, saying, You have erred. Again they raised him up since he was alive, and made him dig a hole. They made him stand in it. After having covered him up to his abdomen, they stoned him in this manner, and he stretched out his hand and said in prayer, Not that one which is his custom to say, My God, my Father, who saved me from this dead hope, who made me alive through the mystery of that wills. He not let me these days of the world be prolonged for me, but the day of the light remain in salvation. Deliver me from this place of sojourn. Do not let your grace be left behind me, but from my grace become pure. Save me from the evil death, bring me from a tomb alive. Because of your grace, love is alive in me to accomplish the work of fullness. Save me from the sinful flesh, because I trusted in you with all my strength, because you are the life of life. Save me from the humiliating enemy. Do not give me into the hands of the judge who is severe with sin. Forgive me all that we doubt in the days of my life, because I am alive in you, your grace is in me. Because I am alive and grace is in me, I have renounced everyone, but I have confessed you. Save me from the evil affliction, but now is the time and the hour of the Holy Spirit, my salvation, the light of the power. After he spoke, he fell silent. The word after it discoursed. This was the death of James the just, the brother of the Lord. And you will tell me that you know something? You try to tell me that you know this information, but I don't think you do. Let's see if we can find more in the Bible. That was the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I think that those of you who know who I'm talking to can surely understand what those verses meant. My words, going about naked. Yeah, you know, you have to. Well, we have more to talk about us. It's in the Bible even. I told you. Yeah, it's in here. Let me find it. Corinthians chapter 4 verse 9. For I think that God has displayed me lest as a man condemned to death, for I have been made a spectacle to the world, both to angels and to men. But we are dishonored to the present hour. We both hunger and thirst, and we are poorly clothed and beaten and homeless. Being reviled, we bless, being persecuted and endure, being defamed, we entreat. We have been made as filth of the world of offscoring and things until now. Struck down yet not destroyed. I believed and therefore I spoke. We also believe and therefore speak. For all things are all yours and for all your sake. Therefore we are not, even though our outward man is perishing, yet the inward man is being reviewed each day, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment, is working for us a far more exceeding and eternal reward. While we do not look at the things which are seen, but are the things that are not seen. For the things which are not seen are temporary, and the things which are not are eternal. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 11, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord we perceive, but we are well known to God, and I also trust that we are well known to your conscience. For we do not commend ourselves against you, but if you have the opportunity to boast on behalf that you may have an answer for those who boast in appearance, and not in heart. Yes, I boast, I am arrogant in appearance, but not in heart. For if we were deceiving ourselves, it is for God, and if we are of sound mind, it is for you. Chapter 6, verse 4. But in all things I committed myself to God, in much patience and tribulation, and needs and distress, and stripes and imprisonment, and labors and sleeplessness, by knowledge, by the word of truth, by the power of God, by honor and dishonor, to evil report, as deceivers and yet true, as unknown and yet well known, as dying and behold we live, as chastened yet not killed, as sorrow yet always rejoicing, to the poor, making many rich and having nothing yet possessing all things. I am deceivers yet true. A heavy delusion. I'm lying all the time, twisting and turning. Yes, okay. Chapter 7, 2 Corinthians, verse 2. Open your hearts to me. I have wronged no one. I have corrupted no one. I have cheated no one. I do not say this to condemn. I have said it before, that you are in our hearts, to die together and to live together. Great is my boldness of speech toward you. Great is my boasting and arrogance on your behalf. I am filled with comfort. I am exceedingly joyful in all my tribulation. Thank you. And you thought we weren't in here? This is the Bible. We're in here, us and me and you. Chapter 8, verse 22, 2 Corinthians. And we have sent with them your brother, whom we have often proved diligent in many things, but know how much more diligent, because the great confidence which we have in you. Yeah. Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 2, but I beg you that when I am present, that I may not be bold, that my confidence, which I intend to be bold against some who think of me as I walk in according to the flesh. For though I walk in the flesh, I do not war against the flesh. For the weapons of my warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing them into every thought into captivity, into the obedience of Christ. For even if I should boast somewhat more about my authority, which the Lord has given me for edification and not for your destruction, I shall not be ashamed, I, however, will not boast beyond measure, but within the limits of the sphere from which God appointed me, the sphere which I especially includes you, my arrogance. Chapter 11, verse 9, and when I was present with you and in need, I was a burden to no one. For what I lacked in the brothers who came to me, supplied everything. I kept myself from being a burden to you, and so I kept myself, and the truth of Christ is in me, and I shall no one stop me from this boasting. And why? Because I do not love you, God knows, but what I do, I will also continue to do, that I may cut off the opportunity for those who desire an opportunity to be regarded just as we are in the things which they boast. Chapter 11, 2 Corinthians, verse 17. What I speak not according to the Lord, but as it were foolishly in the confidence of boasting and arrogance. Seeing that many boast according to the flesh, I will boast. For you put up with fools gladly, since you yourself are fools. To our shame I say that we are too weak for that. But in whatever anyone is too bold, I speak foolishly. I am bold also. I am more in labors and abundant in stripes above measure, in prisons and more frequently in death. Chapter 12, 2 Corinthians. It is doubtless not profitable for me to boast in arrogance. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. For though I might desire to boast, I will not be a fool, for I will speak the truth, but I refrain lest anyone should think of me above what he sees to me or hears from me. Lest I should be exalted above measure in abundance of revelations, and a thorn of flesh which is given to me, a messenger of Satan, to buffet me and exalt me in measure. Concerning this thing I pleaded with the Lord 3 times that it might depart from me. Therefore, most gladly, I would rather boast of my infirmities than the power of Christ rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, reproaches, and persecutions. For when I am weak, I am strong. I have become a fool in boasting. For you have compelled me, for I ought to have been commended by you. But for nothing this was I behind, most eminent apostles, though I am nothing. Chapter 12, verse 15, 2 Corinthians. And I will very gladly spend and be spent for your souls, though the more abundantly I love you, the less I am loved. But be that as it may, I did not burden you. Nevertheless, being crafty, I caught you by cunning. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 1, and you who made him alive, who were dead in trespass and sin, in which you once walked according to the curse of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit who now works in the sons of disobedience, among whom you also we are at once conducted ourselves in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, just as the others. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8, for by grace you have been saved through faith, that not of yourself, this is a gift of God. prophecy and of understanding all mysteries and of all knowledge, I though have all faith that I can move mountains, but I have not love, I have nothing. And though I bestow all my goods for the poor, and my body to be burned, not love, it profits me nothing. Not provoked, and thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails, but whether there are prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. There is knowledge, it will vanish. But we know in part, we will prophesy in part. But when His perfect has come, that which is in part will be done away. When I was a child. Chapter 14, pursue love that you may prophesy. In the Spirit He speaks mysteries. Acts chapter 2 verse 17, and it shall come to pass in those last days, says God, that I will pour out my Spirit in all the flesh, that you shall prophecy, and you shall see visions and dream of dreams. I will pour out my Spirit in those days, and they shall see prophecy, and I will show wonders in heaven above the signs of the earth, before the blood and fire and vapor and smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. The Lord said, it was my Lord, sit at my right hand till I make your enemies my footstool. And I told you, the sun will be turned off. How many times do I got to tell you? I've been over and telling you that is the prophecy, that is the vision, and that is the truth. And it's right here in the Bible. And then you say, Romans chapter 7 verse 15, for what I am doing I do not understand, for what I will to do that I do not practice, but what I hate to do that I do. If then I do what I will not to do, I agree with the law that it is good, but now it is no longer I who do it, but it is sin that dwells within me. For I know that in me there is in my flesh nothing good that dwells, for I will to present with me, but how to perform that which good I do not find. In the good that I will to do I do not do, but in the evil that I will not to do I practice. Now I longer do it, but sin. Find then that the law who with me, one who wills to do good, for I delight in the law according to the inward man. The law of sin which is in my members, O wretched man, for I am who delivered me from this body of death. Yeah, because you see me doing all the crazy things that you say are bad, and there it is. It's in the Bible. For the Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 18, for the message of the cross is foolishness to those who perish, but to us who are believing saved it is the power of God. Thank you. You think that what I do is foolishness. That's because you're dying. So that should be enough.